It's DJ Ash Noble here. Welcome back to another stream. Happy New Year. It's the first stream of 2024, believe it or not. Very crazy. So I just want to start the stream by saying a massive Happy New Year to every single person. I hope you had an amazing New Year. I hope you had a really good Christmas, which is crazy to think that that Christmas was now last year. That is like really crazy to think. So yeah, I hope you've all had a really good one. I hope it's all been filled with positivity. I hope it was all filled with joy, and you've had a good time. And if you haven't had a good time, then I am sorry that you haven't had a good time. And hopefully this year will be a little bit of a better year for you. So I'm kicking off the year. I've got fresh orange. I've got a fresh orange drink, um, and we're gonna do the gig aftermath for the New Year's Eve gig. So for those who may or may not know, if you didn't see the last stream, which was last year, crazy to think that even this time yesterday it would be last year. But we, myself and the layman, we did a gig in Sheffield, and we DJ'd on New Year's Eve, and it was a really enjoyable atmosphere. It was a really good vibe. So we DJ'd a New Year's Eve party in a place called the Telebar, and it was a little bit of a weird one. It was like a real sort of different sort of experience, but it was like a really good experience at the same time. So we played like inside of a pub, and it was just kind of like your average, go into that pub and watch the football, and go into that pub and just go and have a casual drink with friends, and not the type of place you'd really expect to sort of really go and sort of get a party on, if that makes sense. Um, so we started at 7 and we went through all the way until midnight, and essentially we just played like a mixture of all sorts, and it was a really enjoyable vibe. So we started with some like R&B and sort of like noughties like chart tunes, so like noughties R&B, sort of noughties, sort of commercial, sort of hip hop, and sort of noughties dance kind of that you would hear on the radio. So kind of things like Neo, Akon, 50 Cent, um, Pitbull, things like that. And just sort of played some of them tunes for a good while. Of course, with these kind of gigs, you always get requests. Like requests is kind of like a really big thing, and we had a real big struggle with the requests because there was like just shocking internet inside of the pub, and inside of the pub and where we was located to DJ in the pub, it was a really bad hotspot for signal as well. So like the signal for picking up the mobile data was just absolutely shocking. And then you try telling that to people that have had a few drinks and trying to make them understand that there's no Wi-Fi, and trying to make them understand that I could only play what I'd like gathered up to put onto my USB stick was like it was a really challenging chore, because when they're in that state, all they want is for you to play that song that they've requested. And you can tell them a speaker's blown, or an amplifier's blown, or the internet's gone down, or you can give them every single way of telling them that you cannot play that track, and they will not listen to you when they're in that mood, and they've had a couple of drinks. They just will not listen, and there's just no way that you're going to get them to listen, which it was a little bit of a challenge, but we got through it, and we tried our best to make them understand. We was able to play a couple of requests where I'd got YouTube to load, but it just wasn't the best. So if I'm gonna take on these kind of gigs, which I do enjoy them, I need to sort of like find some way of kind of like getting some form of like device or something that is just going to allow me to search a song and just play whatever song that they want essentially, and play it as quickly as possible, and just use it kind of as a foot stepping stone. So like if there is a request, we can get that request played for them, without having these little bit of issues. So we played the R&B. I think I played it for a good hour and a half to nearly 2 hours. Just slowly played some stuff, and just decided that you know it was time to change it up a little bit. So I went into some house tunes, and just sort of went into a little bit of house and a little bit of bass line, and it just sort of tried to play some like remixes, but still tried to keep it sort of like well known to an extent that people would be kind of like, yeah, I remember this kind of thing. Yeah, I remember this song, and stuff like that. And but then try to put it on a little bit of a sort of like of a, kind of like a little bit of a dancey vibe. So we did that for a while, and it went down quite well. They seemed to recognize a couple of songs. A few of them was kind of like, yeah, quite like this, and a few of them was like, yeah, well, this guy's actually full on mixing, that kind of thing. And then it got to where there was just over 2 hours remaining, and we decided that we was gonna take it up a little bit of a notch, and was gonna take it up a bit more. And we went into some like clubland, and we went into some like scouse house and some bounce and donk. And if I'm gonna be completely truthful, like I wouldn't like fully say it worked, but it kind of worked. So there was kind of like certain songs where people like recognized the tunes and they were singing along. And then there was just like certain tracks where I think it was just probably a little bit like a little bit too hard and heavy for them. And I don't think, I think that they preferred more kind of like the R&B and the dancey kind of things. But there was a good like Entrance, Set You Free, and Ultra Beat, Pretty Green Eyes. It was kind of like they kind of knew them songs, but like they weren't like particularly like big lovers of them. So like they'd sing along a bit, but they wasn't really too keen on it. And I tried to sort of like remix of like Chasing Cars, and I tried to go as commercial as I could with the bounce, and find like the really cheesy remixes, and not go sort of like full on like with a hard donk mix. And I tried to mix it up a bit, and just tried to find like where I thought, what they'd recognize the vocals and they'd sing along kind of thing. And we didn't do too bad, and we played that for a good sort of like just over an hour kind of thing. And then we sort of they sort of said, will we go back? Can we go back into the R&B? So we went back into the R&B, and we played a couple of tracks that we had played earlier on, but no, at this point, no one was really gonna know. There was in sort of like New Year's Eve spirit, and by this point, they were sort of three sheets to the wind, really. So they were just sort of buzzed to hear a song that they recognised. And yeah, we put some R&B stuff on again, and off we potted, if you like, and went on with some R&B again. We managed to get a phone to load again briefly, so we played a couple of requests, and then the phone sort of started playing up again, and we just had a really good time. And then sort of towards the end of the night, which it finished at midnight, so we did like just before midnight. We did like a countdown, and I got the countdown like completely wrong, and I don't mean the timing. So myself and the layman, we had it all planned that we was gonna play. We was gonna play. We was gonna play. Don't Journey. Don't stop believing, and we I went for a remix of it, like a Clublandy remix, and anyway, cutting the story short, um, the pitch on the track, it was too high, it was too fast, and I didn't realize, and everything just kind of all came at once, like the countdown and then into the song, and I played it, and the pitch was just too far up, and people just weren't necessarily really feeling it, um, in that sense because of that. And then the owner sort of said, "Look, there's fireworks outside. Come and see the fireworks, and here's the new year. Let's let the fireworks off," kind of thing. And it was really good. It was still a really good vibe. It was a really good party, and it was definitely what I would call an experience. It was really good, and one sort of like really high sort of note that I've taken away from doing this booking, and one thing that really stood out to me was the I had a couple of friends, a couple of myself and Layman's friends actually came to support us, which was like a really nice thing. It was like a really enjoyable thing. So a guy called Terry, and I'm going to be with him at the next Chain Reaction event, and he came with his girlfriend, and they came, and they sort of came and showed a little bit of support, and they sort of stayed, I think, till sort of roughly round sort of like, I think roughly somewhere sort of just after sort of 10 o'clock, just sort of around that time, and they left. They had to go, and then there was the Kleinies, who they all came in. They all came in full force. So Sean from Chain Reaction, Holly, who is in the thumbnail from this live stream, and her mum and dad, so David and Tracy, and Sean's two daughters, and they all came, and they all shared some support, and they came and sort of supported the night, which was a really good. It was a really good vibe. It was a good atmosphere, and it really just made New Year special. Just having some of them like familiar faces just like popping in, and saying, "Look, hello, we're here. You're doing really well," kind of thing, and just having a little bit of a dance and a couple of drinks, and they went on off and went over to the warehouse, and then myself and the layman, we went over to the warehouse and called in just to sort of say sort of good morning, if you like, and also popped in obviously just to say Happy New Year as well, which was a really good, obviously a really good feeling and a really good vibe. And one thing that I do want to actually say as well is there's just no place like the warehouse. I've got to give it to that club. I don't know what it is that club does. I don't know what it is about that nightclub within itself, but there's something about that nightclub that I can't put my finger on, like why, but like compared to any other nightclub or any other venue, it like literally just gives you a feeling of like something that you just don't feel when you go to like other nightclubs. And I've gone to loads of nightclubs. One of my favourites is the Light nightclub in Scunthorpe. I've always rated that club. It's one of my favourite nightclubs that I've ever DJ'd in. Um, by far, and loads of great venues I've been to. I thought like this is a really good venue. There was the oh, I can't remember the name of it, but it was in Mexborough, and the movement events took place there, and that was a really good vibe as well. There was some really good events that that went on there, and the venue was just really nice. But the warehouse, there's just something about the warehouse that just gives you a feeling that that you just don't get anywhere else. It's just that there's just some form of vibe in there that when you're in another nightclub, you sit there and you think and you feel like, do you know what, this isn't like the warehouse. This is nothing like the Doncaster warehouse. Just doesn't have the same vibe. Um, you know, and there's just something that the warehouse does. It's just an amazing venue. There's always a good crowd in there. It's just got that kind of vibe that I just love. There's no venue like it, and I'm not the kind of person who will sit there and go like, I really want to do this, and like, beg to do this. But like the warehouse is like one dream place that, like, I played there last year for a private party, but I would love to smash an event in there, like even if it was just playing a like a bounce set on the outside terrace, or whatever the gig would be, like an MC in one. There was just a vibe in that warehouse that I just love, and it would kind of be like one to tick off the kind of like a bucket list, like if I did ever get the chance. Um, to get a set in there, which, never say never. I'm always available for booking, so you never know what could happen. You never know what could sort of appear around the corner. So, you know, just sort of keep a lookout, because you never know. But yeah, it was just an absolute. There's just some form of vibe in there that is really good, and I love going to the warehouse for a rave. I love the people that go to the warehouse for a rave, and the whole vibe is it's lit. It's just a lit vibe. It's yeah, it's just a really really positive lit vibe. Really good. So yeah, so what a way to end the new year, and well, to end last year and start the new year. And yeah, the new year is no time for slacking. We've got no time for slacking. um, no, we haven't got time. There's projects, there's things like there's the Grooving Sounds project that I wanted to launch in. I wanted to launch it towards late January. That is theoretically now, believe it or not, that is literally in about 3 weeks' time. Like, believe it or not, that is in about 3 weeks' time. And to be honest, there isn't like all that much left to do, but it's still kind of like not ready to be launched, if that makes sense. So like, I think the thing that's really lacking on the Groovin Sounds project is submissions. People, the submissions, we started off quite well. We got quite a couple of submissions, and then I submitted a track myself, and well, I've submitted two tracks myself actually to go on the Grooving Sounds. But then sort of after that, it was kind of like the whole kind of like just project kind of like just went quiet, and it was like people wasn't submitting stuff, and I'm putting posts up like, we want to hear your music. And the thing that was kind of like annoying me is, like, I have a good few friends on Facebook that dabble into production, and a good few people that make things, and I just thought, just to help the project just lift off, and so we've got a few tracks sort of like under our belt for when we launch, like, so we can start launching and saying, look, this track's going to be coming out, this track's going to be coming out. But unfortunately, it was um it was just, that hasn't really been the case. So there's kind of like a good 5 or 6 tracks that are due to come out on the project, and then there's literally nothing. So like the thing is like I really want the idea, and obviously I want the passion and the project to work, but I don't want to kind of release sort of like 6 tracks and then kind of like, oh well, kind of what now. I was kind of hoping that the submissions would kind of keep coming in and they kind of keep flowing, but that has not been the case, and over Christmas I've lacked on definitely pushing and promoting it myself, because I've kind of set up all of this more or less all by myself, apart from Reload, who has been helping me like with the website design. But it's me that's been like hammering the social medias, it's me that's been making the pages and sharing everything, and and kind of like trying to get people submissions, and it's just been like a really sort of like challenging sort of thing, because I wanted to obviously, I want this to take off and do well, and if I don't feel like it's going to do that, then I will just delay the Grooving Sounds launch, because I don't like I say, I don't want to release a project and then just the project just to do nothing, to have nothing. Especially when I put like time and work into it, I'd rather sort of like launch it, and then like there's tracks like coming out on it regular, and kind of like the Bound 7 and the Excite do. They have tracks come out all the time, but like I wanted to do it differently to them, and focus more on like the actual like physical like one release that's coming out, rather than just saying, look, there's 10 tracks out today, go and grab them. But I just wanted to have like tracks that were kind of like just due to release kind of thing. So we'll see what happens. We'll see where things go. We'll see what's in the pipeline, and we'll take stuff sort of from there, I suppose. So, but apart from that, I'm going to be hammering production this year again. Got some good ideas, got some tracks I want to work on, bounce tracks, and also want to dabble into doing some more stuff with some of my other aliases as well. So I want to dabble into doing some other stuff. So my Mad Ash alias, I want to do some more like bits of hardcore on there. I want to do some like happy hardcore, kind of like, I don't know if you've listened to people like Easy Vibe and stuff like that. Kind of want to make some like proper, just where it feels like really good and happy, and it just feels fast, it feels happy. Some stuff kind of like what Club Filler's doing as well, that kind of stuff, and do some like stuff that like Fracas and Darwin do, and just some proper, real good, like proper UK hardcore. Not necessarily like, I enjoy and I like the 170 stuff, like the sort of like the harder styles of hardcore, where they've got like reverse bass drops in them, and like gabba drops and hard style drops and rolling basses, but kind of, I definitely want to go down that happy route, as that is kind of where I've always kind of, with music, I've always liked the happy side of it, and I've always liked the, I've like drops to come in a little bit harder as well, but I've always liked, kind of like the well-known remixes, and like I say, I've always liked the sort of like the clubby vibe, and I guess the cheesy vibe would be a way of describing it as well. So we'll see, and then I want to dabble into doing a few little like house edits and a few little deep house tunes, and just sort of see where we go really, and just dabble into learning more with music production, and learning tips, and learning sort of about making some of the other genres, and stuff like that. So um, but yeah, that is literally really it. So that is going to do it for this stream. So a big thank you to everybody, the people that came and supported me at the gig yesterday. It meant more than they will ever know. It was just like a really nice thing, because I kind of like, all my life, like I don't want to turn things too negative, but I've been kind of like put down like a lot during my life, you know, even if it's not been like physical, um or if it, you know, sometimes people have done it in like very clever ways, like where they'll try to put me off doing something because, you know, deep down they're jealous and they don't want me to do that, and they don't want me to do well. So like a good example is I got told a couple of years ago when I first started getting in back into the DJing, and when I first started playing out in the nightclubs and stuff, and I got told that like the old school 90s happy hardcore, you know, I basically got told that I wouldn't be able to mix it. I got told that it was like really hard to mix, and that I'd struggle with it, and stuff like that. And obviously, you know, that it made me more determined to want to have a go at mixing it, and I do like that style of music. So you know, I put it on, and obviously, you know, I had a go at mixing it and stuff like that. And I ain't gonna lie, it's not as easy as some genres to mix. Like, you know, you know, some can be a little bit hard to mix, and the cue points are not always the same as like just mixing out of a bounce track. But at the end of the day, like, you know, I'm able to do it, and now I've got like a booking to play a bouncy techno set. So, you know, I kind of feel like, yeah, a lot of people have always sort of like dragged me down, and then like if I've as I've sort of like gone along, I've lost like a lot of support from people. So like um people like who would have been like really close friends, like wouldn't come and see me do a gig like that, or, you know, they wouldn't like congratulate me and say well done on the booking, or like text me to ask how it's been, or like I say, even come and sort of like shed and show any support. So it was actually really nice that the people that came yesterday, that, you know, they actually came and, you know, shedded a little bit of, you know, support, and just you came along, and just obviously in that moment, you know, came to watch me, and came to see me doing my thing. And, you know, it was just a really nice feeling. Like I said earlier in the stream, it like really made the new year like so much more, because it was just a really nice thing. And it was like, you know, there's like some proper genuine friends here that have come out of their way, you know, even when they've got other plans, that they've come out of their way to call in. And, you know, and people like I believe Terry, who came, I believe he came on a train, and then I believe he came in a taxi, you know, as far as the pub, and then came and supported, and had a couple of drinks, and stayed for a little bit, and then got a taxi back to the station, and, you know, back on the last train or whatever. And then you know, the Kleinies, I think they was planning obviously to go to the warehouse, and, you know, they made a um, they made obviously a diversion, and stopped in, and, you know, came in and said hello, and, you know, supported me before they went on there. You know, they could have had a you know, couple of extra hours in the warehouse, but no, they came, you know, they came and supported me first. And it was like a really it was like a really enjoy, you know, really sort of like happy moment for me, just like proper buzz, like, you know, people turning up to come and see me and stuff like that. So I was yeah, I was proper, you know, really happy about that. So big ups to them obviously for coming, and big ups to all the other people in there that danced along and raved. It was a really good atmosphere. So and big ups to everybody that I saw in the warehouse as well. People that, you know, wishing me happy new year and stuff. So we're into a new year. It's time to smash things. It's time to get on to things. It's time to prepare for the next couple of gigs, and then it's just time to sort of see where we move forward. So make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to share, all of that good stuff, and we'll see you soon.